Good morning, children. This is the last session, English for class 11 for this week. Today let's have a recap of the lesson. Which lesson? Ranga's marriage. So let's begin. The story Ranga's marriage takes us to those times when there were few people who knew English. So at that time, which time am I talking about? At the time of Ranga. At that time, very few people knew English. Customs and traditions were given excessive importance. Excessive is too much importance was given to the customs and traditions. The human tendency of going after something that has been forbidden has been brought out through the eponymous character Ranga. Now, why is he an eponymous character? He went for his studies to city, he comes back, he gets good knowledge of English, but he doesn't deviate from his customs and traditions. Yeah, at one place he says, no, I am not for arranged marriages. Maybe he shouldn't have said that in those days, because nobody went for love marriages and it was considered bad by the society. Shama takes the advantage of this very tendency and facilitates Ranga's marriage by making him long for Ratna. So, Shama, the narrator, he takes advantage of this situation and he approaches Shastri, teaches him everything, tutors him and tells him to convince Ranga to get married to whom? To Ratna. The protagonist Ranga belongs to Hosarli village in the erstwhile state of Mysore in Karnataka. Mysore is very famous. Every year it has so many visitors. Very famous for Mysore Palace, the beautiful, huge palace. Only a few people could speak English when Ranga was sent to the city for his studies. So when Ranga was sent to the city for studies, at that time, that means in those days, very few people could speak English. His road coming therefore was a huge event. So after he completes his studies, comes back to his village, it was a great event. Remember, people flocked to see him, especially, and one old lady touches his body and sees whether he is still wearing his sacred thread, whether he has deviated from his traditions and customs. But it was not so at all. Many people believe that those who receive education in English lose their caste. And especially in those days it was very common, people thought if someone is going to a city for studies and all that, that person will surely forget his customs and traditions. Ranga wearing his sacred thread, Janavara, confirms his sanctity and thereby assures the maintenance of his caste. See, he never removed that sacred thread from his body. That itself shows that he very well believed in his traditions and customs. The narrator Shama also feels delighted, very happy to see Ranga. He takes avid interest, too much interest, keen interest in Ranga's marriage. So Shama takes so much interest in Ranga's marriage, and maybe because of him, Ranga's marriage really happens. Ranga, on the contrary, has no plans to marry in the near future and expresses his dislike for arranged marriages. He says, no, I don't want to get married in near future, and if at all I get married, that will not be an arranged one for sure. It distresses the narrator, it makes him very unhappy, and he decides to find out ways to get Ranga married. He speaks to judge that Ranga can be the ideal match after the death of her parents. So why has she come to the village? Because she lost her parents. Parents died. After that, she comes to stay with her uncle in the village. The narrator arranges a meeting in which Ranga can see Ratna. So a meeting is arranged by the narrator where Ranga can meet Ratna. While she is singing, he calls for Ranga. Ratna abruptly stops singing when she finds Ranga staring at her. So she feels so shy, she stops singing and she runs inside the house, overcome by shyness because she starts feeling very shy because he's a stranger. Hearing her sweet voice, Ranga develops an immediate liking for her. So her voice, he's attracted by her sweet voice. He develops a liking for Ratna. Ranga asks the narrator whether the girl is married or not. The narrator tells a lie. He lies by saying, yes, she's married. And at that time, Ranga feels very bad. On hearing this, Ranga's face falls. He becomes upset. The narrator immediately realizes that Ranga has developed a liking for the girl. Shyama at once understood that Ranga likes the girl Ratna. Shyama takes Ranga to Shastri, who has already been tutored by him. Shyama has already told everything to Shastri beforehand. All this was pre-planned. Very cleverly, he makes the prediction that the girl Ranga would eventually marry. The girl Ranga would eventually marry, would have a name associated with the ocean, Kamala or Ratna. So Shastri tells him, the girl you marry, her name will be either Kamala or Ratna, something to do with the ocean. See, associated with the ocean. Shastri also declares that the marriage with Ratna would be successful. So Shastri says, if you get married to Ratna, that marriage is going to be a very successful one. At last, result of the narrator's efforts, Ranga's marriage is arranged. So finally, the marriage is arranged. After many years, Ranga invites the narrator to the first birthday of his son. And Ranga, what do you know? What is the name of Ranga's son? Named after the narrator, Shyama. He honors the narrator by naming his first child after him. So children, do you also believe in customs and traditions? Yes. Now children, we'll revise the theme of the story. Ranga's marriage is a story which reflects the changing times and the attitudes and perspective of the people towards it. Theme is actually very important. How was the thinking of the people at that time, long ago? How is the thinking of the people now? What about the customs and traditions followed then? What about the customs and traditions followed now? Yes, we all follow our customs and traditions. Why? Because it is deep rooted and moreover it gives us a great, we have that feeling of great satisfaction also, and it must be followed. We should never deviate from the traditions and customs. Okay? Using humor as a tool, Masti Venkatesha Iyengar has depicted this theme of change and has also highlighted the significant position occupied by culture and traditions in the lives of the simple people of Karnataka. Yes, always it is so. Traditions and customs play a very important role in all our lives, and moreover, the people of village are very simple. They very strictly follow all the traditions and customs. Even Ranga, you see in this lesson, he never deviated from his traditions and customs, One such example is that what? He did not remove his sacred thread. He started speaking in English, he got his education in big city, but he never forgot his customs and traditions. After returning, he never forgot to touch the feet of his elders and take their blessings. All these things tell us that he did not deviate from the path of traditions and customs. Also important in this chapter is the theme of tradition. Always it is important. It plays a very important role in our lives. Marriage is considered an important custom in the lives of the people. Yes, it is an important custom. One has to go through that. Yes, it happened to Ranga also. This importance is highlighted through the feelings of distress experienced by the narrator when he hears Ranga saying that he is not interested in marriage, and he says one more thing. He says, "No, I don't like arranged marriages." Then the narrator becomes very upset. There he thinks that perhaps Ranga is trying to deviate from his traditions, from his customs, which in fact was not liked by the narrator. But it is not very clearly mentioned anywhere that he did not want to follow the traditions and the customs. Yes, he might have decided to marry someone who would be a good partner, who would help him, who would be understanding. And all these things are not bad at all. Yes, you must follow your traditions and customs. And if at all you deviate, there should be a valid point, it should be logical. You should never cross the boundaries, the limit. You should always be within the limits and not hurting anyone, your families, your elders, your society. The society must accept you. They should be able to accept you. That is, you should not indulge in any activity which hurts not only your family but the society also. So, these are very important decisions in life, and one must be very careful in taking such decisions. One should think from all angles and then come to a conclusion. So, we cannot say that Ranga was wrong in saying so. He must have had his own thoughts in his mind. He must be considering certain factors. After that only he must have said that he would not like to go for arranged marriages. And moreover children, long back, especially in villages, you know, there was a lot of age gap between the bride and the groom. Do you think that is correct? According to some, it may not be correct. Some may not like it also. So Ranga might have thought about all these things. Yes. So we cannot say that Ranga was wrong in his thoughts or decisions. But yes, he did not deviate from his traditions and customs. Did he deviate from his traditions and customs? No. Okay children, so that's all for today for this session. Please read and revise all the lessons that have been taught to you. And next month you have to write your first monthly test. And don't forget that every subject is important. You have to try to do well in all the subjects. That's all for today.